the Capital Market Probe, and this time we're joined by Dr. Nweze of Pan-African University. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning.
Well, it's interesting. You've got two caps. We'll need those caps in communication and in business, in the financial sector. Yeah. Because, I mean, looking at this probe, so many things pop up. You know, some think that certain things came in the way of them getting good information concerning what's going on. Well, others think differently, and all sorts of theories pop in here. But if you watch that probe, I mean, you should have seen the report this morning. What came to you? What jumped out?
Well, the thing is that the House needed to have consulted with the two bodies in the SEC and also the NCE, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, so before making public, because the role of the House is to be more educated and about what the goings on. Because if you listen to some of them, they don't even have understand what is going on. You remember during the last time that the CBN made up that 25% of. And I was shocked to hear that the senator said that he didn't understand the budget.
Okay.
Yeah. So they need one of the issues or challenges we have, especially those making laws for us, is that they don't take time to know the workings, and it's the duty of the operators, the regulatory bodies, to any opportunity they have to seize it, and then educate the public and what is going on.
Yeah, but in spite of that, I mean, you heard many of them say, look, we've been in this for 20 years, we've been in this for a long time, and if it didn't come across as though they've been in there for a long time, something is wrong.
Yeah, and again, you find that even the interjections, they were not, it was as if they had, let me pin this guy or let me pin this person. So the interjections and all that, they would have given enough time. Let the professional explain what is going on in the...
Because they got 2 weeks.
Someone, Mr. Nweze, you've talked about professionals, and maybe some would argue that for far too long we've left it in the hands of professionals. We trusted them so much so that we left everything in their hands, and no one was actually paying any attention as to what was going on in that sector until all our monies went. So it's the truth, and then someone will come and say, let the professionals explain. Have we lost all trust in professionals? If we have, is it not right that we should lose trust in our professionals?
Well, it's not a matter of losing trust in the professionals. The thing is that when you have a weak institution, many things are bound to happen. It's not just the SEC. It's not just the issue. The problem now did not start just today. It started a long time, and whatever took so long to bring us to where we are now is also going to take us some time to correct. Okay, so what they're trying to do is to correct this thing. But again, I keep saying that when you have professionals, those that are smarter than you outside, you're regulating those that are smarter than you. You're a regulator, but those you are supposed to regulate are smarter than you. How do you?
So the CBN had that problem.
Yeah, they had that problem until they began to recruit people that understand the workings. Before the institution, you need to build strong institutions.
And again,
globally,
yeah,
even in Wall Street, you have all these insider traders and all that. It's a big issue. People that
I'm happy you've even taken it to a global affair now, talking about those who understand, who do not understand. Now, I think most Nigerians were privileged to have followed the phone hacking scandal live, and we saw what the members of parliament actually did and how they went about it, even though you never knew that they were even angry. But again, we saw finally how Ms. Brooks has been taken in.
Yes.
So what form, I'm going back to what Chamberlain did ask at the start about communication. How well, away from those who know, how well or how best can we actually go about all of this so that we as a people and as a nation can get what we really want? Maybe as an investor, I should be able to understand when I watch a probe panel like that and know what exactly is happening.
Yeah, it behoves the managers of the policymakers, the NCE and the SEC, to communicate, to tell the public what's going on, which they have also, especially the daily tradings and all that. But apart from the daily tradings, you don't understand, you don't know what's going on. And there are a whole lot of, I've listened to the DG of the stock exchange, and you know, he came across to me as someone that will really build on what has already been done by the previous DGs. And okay, he says, look, beyond just doing what they're supposed to do, they are also trying to borrow some ideas from having come from Wall Street, so that something that would be good for us, and then see how he can, you know, put it there and to grow the. And he mentioned several areas where they are focusing on, and he said that, look, there's so many companies, because the whole essence of the stock exchange is to create wealth, and don't forget, it's a market. Sometimes the market goes down, sometimes it goes up, so it's a risky thing, and that's why you have the return is higher than having your money in savings account and all that. So people that operate in that should be able to understand that you need patience, you need money, and you need time, you know, to be able to, you know, to do this. So the public, supposed to, which I heard the DG of the stock exchange said that they would do more communication to explain some of these things. The new product they're introducing to the market, they would, you know, do more communication, explain to the public what they plan, what they try to do in that aspect. And you again, for the SEC supposed to is a purely regulatory body, and they need to sanction people when discovered that companies or individuals, because you always have these people around.
Okay, away from the controversy of the manner of questioning, one point that the members of the House of Reps are trying to raise there yesterday is that, you know, doing her job could be hampered because it seems that she was surrounded by people who were in this sector, or who were in the banks that had stocks on the market that she was supposed to be regulating, and they felt that, you know, that could also hamper her regulatory responsibility, as it were. Do you share this view?
Well, in a way, yes. It could be impaired. The judgment could be impaired because he has a stake. And but again, as a professional, irrespective of you know whether you have interest or not, you do your job as a professional. You would not be biased at all because you have investment.
It's possible?
Okay. Yeah, it's possible. Yes. You know, as a professional, you don't...
Did you see that? Was that evident yesterday from the line of questioning and reactions we got?
Well, not really. Yes and no, but you find that people, the other group had something they wanted to get out, and the other group had to, you know, also defend their own. I mean, so you have to save your job.
Did both of them let it get in the way of public?
Of course, because that one thing is that when you're talking and nobody, you know, it's really. I know that in what we say active listening, you have to, you know, ask questions for clarity and all that. But there should be some, you know, some kind of explanation allowed for them to say, okay, look, this is what happened. This is what we know about what happened. And then the other people will also have an understanding. Now, having played in the market does not mean, for so long, does not mean that you understand the market. Yes, it does not mean. Because you have to consider the market changes. It's a dynamic market. And what worked yesterday may not necessarily work today. So you need to keep up to date on what's going on.
So it's like sports. If you're not training for a competition, you lose your form.
Exactly.
It affects your results.
That's right.
But then, I mean, if public relations people say you don't have a second opportunity of making the first impression, because for instance now, SEC, we understand, they say 52 firms were suspended for various violations, 30 of them referred to law enforcement, and not a lot of people had the opportunity to get actually what they have done in terms of regulation.
That is the thing of communication. Because if SEC, you know, as a body, cannot communicate what the activities, you have the press, you use them. And you don't have to do it yourself. You get consultants, you know, that will every opportunity you have, just sending feelers to educate the public on what you're doing. But that has not been done.
What about
very
that?
much?
That debate, whether or not, what aspects of the goings on in the capital market should make a public hearing, or what aspects should be maybe amongst themselves talk about it with a view to restoring investors' confidence. How about that?
Now, should there be a public hearing in the first place?
In the first instance.
Because the market is very, very sensitive. And it thrives on confidence. So any little thing, it will sway. And don't forget that Nigeria's economy is that the capital market plays a major role in the economy.
You know, Mr. Nweze, you're asking if there should be a public hearing. Now, going by what we've heard yesterday, do you think that there ought to have been a probe in the very first instance?
That is the point.
No, not a public hearing. I mean,
yes,
there could be a hearing behind closed doors. But did you see the need for having a probe?
No, what I'm saying in fact that, look, if you have issues, if you want to understand what is going on, the committee should invite them. They do their own stuff. And if there is corruption or allegation and all that, something that you don't understand, but you call the probe, when ordinarily you need consultations to understand how this thing works, how they've been doing their work. So there'll be a dialogue. Now, if that the investors, you and I, we are not happy about what is going on and all that, maybe our investments are being eroded, it's a market. The thing is that those companies, they have taken action by suspending for illegal trading or something like that. That is what it's supposed to do.
No, but how easy can it be to actually extricate yourself from something that you're experiencing as well? Because as it went, from their own admission, they have also, members of the committee conducting the probe have also lost money.
Like 30 million, some of them.
we heard that much yesterday.
Yeah, you see.
So how easy is it for you to actually remove yourself from the anger you feel when you actually believe that you were not being protected?
Yes.
As a host of Nigerians, I also angry that they were not protected.
Because that was what I saw that actually resulted in the probe. How come I lost so much? What are you doing in the market? And that is what I said. That for the fact that you've been in the market, you've been making money all these years. And the thing is that it goes round. It goes around every 5 years. The market comes around every 5 years. You might be down now, but again, you don't understand, and then your investor, your stockbroker, is also not in the know. You're not working with him because you cannot leave your stockbroker alone. You need to have an understanding before going into the market in the first place. And then there's something we call Naira cost averaging. Okay, Naira cost averaging is a system where you keep on investing when the prices are high or low. At the end of the day, you find out that for people who wait until prices are down before coming in to invest, they lose opportunities. It's always better you keep at it. So probably they were waiting for the money. They did when prices were low. There was no reinvestment, and the things grew. No money added, and then you need to be active. You need to be an active trader.
Mr. Nweze, we have to admit that never in the history of the Nigerian Stock Exchange or the capital market have we ever seen, stocks go down so much so that they even lose their market value. It's not reflective of the value of the stock that you have in a company.
Yes.
Never has it been so bad.
No, but it did not. Yes, I agree with you. These are trying times for the stocks, and a lot of people have lost hope and confidence in this. So when you mention, invest, I tell them, and I say, look, you need to be a contrarian investor. When others are heading north, you head south. So that you'll be able to benefit from the market.
Hope they won't be on their own at the end of the day.
No, you see, no, because the thing again is that because these people have lost money, and you can see it. That they're angry. Why should I lose money? Oh yeah, let's call for a probe. Let's call for this when it is not necessary. So you find again that when you are losing money in the market, you need to call your when prices are down. And again, there are three players in the market. Are you an investor? Are you a speculator? Or are you just a trader? So you find that traders are those that invest today, tomorrow, if the price inches up, they'll float. And speculators may hear a rumor that something that, we heard that government is trying to, or the agricultural produce is going to do, they invest.
Now that you're here, sorry, Chamberlain, now that you're here, we've been talking about what is and what is not. And now some people are already worried that looks like the way the Chinese will say the year of the dragon, we're getting into that year of probes. Everywhere you go to and anywhere, we're getting to see probes and public hearing. To what effect do we all these probes at the end of the day?
No, you see, the thing is that there's nothing wrong with probes. First, at the end of the day, you achieve results. You say, okay, this is what we...
So it's about results.
It's about results. And say, okay, look, we have had this probe. This improvement was as a result of the probe we had. And we're yet to see all this. There's so many probes, but we have not seen changes that we expect to see.
Does that invalidate the essence or the previous probes we've had?
In the past, we had several probes. But where are we today? We see the same situation. It's what you do with the probe, the changes you make. Just like the hacking stuff that they had. We can see that things have changed. Some laws were made and more sanctions and all that. And some people lost their jobs. But I remember one of the guys that used to be the president of Nigerian Stock Exchange. He had issues, and rather than deal with the issue, even caused the former DG disfavor with this thing. Some people feel that they are sacred cows; you cannot do anything, even when they have done wrong. And when you tell them that they have done wrong, they because they have connections and all that.
Comment on this school of thought. I mean, there are those who say it is because they also say that since the stock market thrives on sensitive information and such, certain things should be kept low, perhaps within that sector. That's why people hide behind that. People take advantage of all of those and do what they do because, quote unquote, it's hush-hush.
No, again, yes, I agree with you. Yeah, because it thrives on sensitive information and all that. But again, what happens in the stock market is also, you can trace it to CBN policies. Because one is, there are some policies, especially bank reforms and all that, it affected the market. Okay? And when interest rate is high, it affects the market. The capital market, because investors will move their monies from equities to money market if interest rate is high. But when interest rate is low, equities, okay? So they keep moving here and there, especially when you have to pay school fees and all that. A whole lot of it affects the market as well, okay? Because you need to offload. Okay. But again, if coming to your question, now, just like I usually say about normative economics and positive economics. When you're dealing with the public, you become a positive economist. Give them hope because it's all about confidence. But when you're dealing with yourselves or government, you become both a positive economist and then a normative economist. To tell, look, this is the situation and this is what we plan to do. But you keep on promoting more of the positive, because if you promote the negative all the time, nobody is going to put his money in and it will affect the economy.
So moving forward, what exactly would you like to see? I mean, since we've decided to make this public, what exactly would you like to see? How do you think that confidence can actually be brought back to the market by reassuring investors?
Yeah, it depends on the managers of the two institutions to begin to communicate more to the public. Yes, a probe has been done, and these are the things that we have done.
It's not done. I mean, the probe is not finished.
No, at the end of the day,
yes.
Your question is what going forward.
Going forward, yes. At the next probe.
Yeah. Okay. At the next probe.
Next sitting.
Okay.
What would you like to see
of this particular one?
Of this particular one,
which is today.
What would you like to see?
Well, I want the former American president always said that I think it was Abraham Lincoln that said, when you tell the people the truth, the nation is safe. They will begin to tell themselves the truth, without protecting their turf. And then both parties should be able to say, okay, look, we have again in the house, they need proper education. They need, yes, forget even though you're a policymaker and all that, you're a lawmaker, but you need proper education on a daily basis, not only when you lose money, before you pay attention to the workings of the market. You need to constantly, if you're interested, the committee should be able to, have people, professionals come to them to talk to them about the workings of the market. They have to, be...
What gave you the impression that they did not quite understand the workings of the market? It's very important that we understand that.
Yeah, because when you hear that there are things that you hear people say, you can read between the lines that, hey, there's a gap somewhere. Okay? So you need to bridge that gap. As lawmakers, you need to be on top of every situation. You need to have information. And that's why taxpayers are paying a retinue of advisors and all that. Whether they're making use of them to do research, when a man or a woman on top of a game speaks, For instance, a friend of mine who was was a commissioner in one of the states, and EFCC came and harassed him for 15 times. And each time it was an opportunity for him as a lawyer to educate them, because he read the local government laws. And anything that would go contrary to that, he avoided. So they couldn't hold him. Each time EFCC comes around to him and say, he will educate them about the law. And they say, okay, is that the way? So that is the kind of thing I expect that they should be doing. And the operators, the regulators should, at each given time, even when they're invited, they shouldn't say, okay, look, you're not supposed to, regulate me and all that.
Are there any questions burning on your mind that you would like to see answered?
Well, not really. Not really.
I have one burning in my mind that let me ask you this one. Because, the banks, are we going to hear the truth someday? Because, in the same stock market, they declare huge profits at the end of the day. And people ask themselves, what are these banks investing in that the economy has, not really much to show for it? And then they declare huge profits, which also affects the market when they move those monies away and it keeps going round in circles.
Now, one thing again is that the banking sector constitutes about over 70%, conservatively speaking. In the past, it used to be up to 80-something% of the capitalization of the market. It's a very sensitive thing. Now, the banks make money through forex. They can declare a whole lot of profits. Now, meanwhile, the real sector, yes, the big companies, they fund from time to time, but the small companies are supposed to be the engine of the economy, are not, remember, they don't even understand the workings. In fact, I spoke to one bank MD, he's late now, he said that I told him about manufacturing, he said, he doesn't do manufacturing. I said, how can the economy grow without manufacturing? Okay, so the banks will declare all manner of profits and all that, not because, and you don't find it impacting, because they're not lending to the people they're supposed to lend. And you find again that some of these people, they just trade with all this money. A trader will come, even some of them set up shops to a trading company. They bring in items that sell fast. They turn it around. Even their marketing executives are supposed to be creating liabilities or generating liabilities. Asking for deposits and all that. They're busy, carrying items that the bank funded to begin to dispose of.
It got me thinking that transparency has a whole lot to play in all of this.
Because they should
before they crash, sometimes, remember the banking, the crisis in the banks then, we saw, just before it happened, we saw loads of them declaring huge profits. But those getting awards as best this and best that in the financial market.
Those were paper profits.
Paper profits.
Paper profits. And don't forget the role of creative accounting in all of this, just to make you look good before your investors.
Creative accounting.
Yeah, creative accounting. Yeah. So that is its point. A whole lot of things, and that's why the whole reforms is to sanitize the market. And again, globally, bankers are known to be not to be straight all the time, but sometimes you look the other way because of let it be so that the economy is. But again, if the institutions are strong enough, no matter who you are, you're going to, rather than attacking individual, when the bankers know that the institutions that are supposed to regulate them are strong and they are transparent, not because I don't like your face. I've come up with certain laws, just like we see in this pro, because they lost money and then come and explain to me why I lost money. So these are some of the things we have seen in the lesson. But again, the banks were sometimes the depositors, they have short-term funds which they can put in long-term projects. And when you have a situation where funds are long-term funds, people can leave their money for long-term and all that, they can invest in some of these projects. That's why sometimes where you don't really have to blame them, because they have short-term funds and they have to, and they don't really, if it is not oil, you bring in oil, and short-term focus. It's not good for the economy. Yeah. We need to plan ahead. We need to have a project that can banks can fund 15 years, and that is why even AMCON had to come in. One of the airlines, I think is ARIC, had to buy jet. There's nowhere in the country where you buy planes, and you have 3 years, 5 years to pay. It's not done. You need 15, 20 years to pay because it's a capital-intensive lesson. But these people had to borrow money on a short term, 5 years. And then by the time you do it, you find out that it's actually 3 years they have to pay this money. So it affected everything. And then AMCON had to come in, bought over the lesson, gave them a long lease of life. So the company now relies to plan strategy on how to grow the business. So that's the kind of thing that AMCON is also doing, to take short term, refinance it, and then give them a long term that's supposed to be.